Today I want to talk about New Earth. What is that 5D frequency? What does it mean to ascend? I want to try and make it as simple as possible. New Earth is a frequency where you are operating in a state of flow from your heart. It means how you choose, how you make decisions according to how you vibrate and how in resonance and alignment with your soul you operate. That doesn't mean that to get there you don't have any challenges, that you don't necessarily react to things. You're still living the human experience, but you no longer identify with your reactions, with your conditioning, with who you believe yourself to be in the past. In the New Earth, you act accordingly to your heart's intention. It's a frequency because there are certain emotions that cannot live in the New Earth, but are really important to actually alchemize for them to leave your body. Emotions like anger, lust, fear, worry, despair, apathy, and things that keep you in a loop that can make you feel depressed, fearful, lost, are experienced in this thing called Ascension. And the Ascension is that dark night of the soul where you actually notice that even though you are present, even though you notice your thoughts but don't engage with your thoughts, these energies seem to be there and seem to be stronger than your will to let them pass and let them go. I always say the analogy is like a wave that takes you over, so you start being carried by that wave. And that is because those things were stored in your body. Those things were stored in your subconscious mind. Those things are still part of a construction that is not the real you. So in order to access the real you, you would need to become a version of yourself that no longer gets carried away and experiences those lower emotions. And that's why every time you come back to those emotions, you leave them, you exit those vibrations with a new understanding, and that is part of the Ascension. Loneliness is another thing that happens in this Ascension process, because in a way you still hold on to friendships, you still hold on to people that are part of a different timeline. Maybe you still practice things, activities that no longer are in alignment with your highest timeline. And those things are making you feel uncomfortable within your usual recurrent circle of people and friends and family. So you feel misunderstood, so you feel like you're not part of it. You feel a longing for a place or a group of people that have never actually existed, because it was all a construction that you were trying to fit in, but you weren't really fitting in. So this loneliness is a good sign, because it means that once you establish a permanent vibration, a permanent shift, you'll see that by resonance, by being your authentic self, people in that same timeline, holding that same frequency, will find you. And you'll find them as well. But you need to establish, you'll notice in this Ascension process that sometimes you find people and you resonate with them and you feel content and you feel fulfilled. And maybe a couple of days later you don't resonate the same, and it's because your vibration is still being carried away by the energies of the earth and the energies of the collective. So when you stabilize when you gain these moments of clarity, when your perspective is a bit more fresh, it is really important to actually acknowledge. And I feel it is like raising a flag whenever you have those moments of awareness. So then you have a bodily sensation, remembrance of how it feels. So next time you're about to experience a shift that you don't prefer, a lower frequency state, you remember, without even thinking, you remember how it feels in your body. You remember the sensations. And that's going to help you operate with a different perspective. You won't react as quick, but you'll be able to allow the guidance of your higher self and your spirit team to move you out of any place where you don't belong. And that's why trust is one of the main codes and principles for the 5D New Earth. Trusting. Appreciation. Appreciation is key for the good and for the bad, because appreciation also means awareness. It doesn't mean that you stay in one frequency. It doesn't mean you stay in one single emotional state of being. It means you appreciate what is going on as an observer. So when the good and the bad, according to your definitions, happen, you remain observant. You might feel the turbulence, but the turbulence is apart from you. And then gratitude for that appreciation, for being able to stay still. So all these things that you've been seeing about the ascension and the symptoms, I find that is just you stabilizing your frequency according to the collective and according to the planets and according to all of the energy movements. But one thing that is undeniable is that you can get away from social media for 10 days and then you look back and people in the same collective awareness had experienced the same things. So it's not some kind of paranoid news that you're gonna experience this and that. You can isolate yourself and you'll experience a similar thing that the people that are in resonance with your soul. So now we're gonna move to your heart and brain coherence. What does that mean? It doesn't mean positive thinking. It doesn't mean some band-aid without looking at the root cause or escape mechanism, avoidance. It doesn't mean anything like that. Or just let it go. It doesn't mean that. It means, again, acknowledging with your presence where you're at and knowing that your thoughts, your perceptions, your feelings, your beliefs are not you. They are not yours. You experience them, but there's a deeper awareness looking at those. It's a witnessing. So the more you get closer to that in your body, the more you actually allow yourself to not be conditioned by how you think, how you feel, how you react, who you think you are, the more in resonance with your heart you become. Because the thing is that your construction, your avatar here on Earth, has a certain rule to let you know when you are safe, when you are not, when you're triggered and when you're not, when you experience certain emotion or not. And those are conditions. And your true self is unconditional. It's always there, it's ever present, and cannot be moved. It can only experience. So when you don't try to confine and close your vision, and you are available to the observing, to the witnessing, the more you fall into your heart space. Not fall, but the more you open your heart space. The more you rest in your heart space. The more neutrality, joy, the more higher vibrations, the more higher frequencies are going to come into your experience and are going to be reflected in the external. That's when trust comes again into play, because it's not rational. You have a guidance system, your intuition, you have your higher self, and if you trust them, if you trust your guides, you're gonna receive that information. But in order to receive that information, you need to clear your channel, and to clear your channel, you come into your heart space. When you allow yourself to rest and reset from your heart space, and this means true rest, this means resting without being actually thinking about all of those things you still haven't done, all of the things you haven't accomplished, just resting in your awareness, in your heart space, in nature. That rest is going to give you clarity, and from that clarity that is not personal but is universal, you're going to start getting the messages, you're going to start getting the guidance, you're going to start getting the channeling, you're going to start getting the art. And that place is for everyone to access. So you decide. There's a version of you that is already living and thriving in the 5D, and there's a version of you that's also mirroring that on the opposite side. And it's according to your vibration and to following these principles that you're going to experience one or the other. One other thing that I want to explain is this concept of karma that really doesn't exist in the new earth, but there's a similar principle, and it's, again, your vibration. When you're angry, when you're frustrated, and you start a chain of thoughts and reactions, and you start doing from that space, you're lowering your vibration. You still have your awareness at any single point to alchemize that anger and say, I noticed this, I'm gonna fall back into my heart space. I'm gonna regain that clarity, I'm gonna rest so I can restart. Because whenever you act from a lower emotion, lower vibration, and you go unconscious for a couple of days, then you're gonna start experiencing all of the Ascension symptoms all over again until you make that conscious. So frequency is in a way similar to karma. Let's say something happens that you don't prefer and you don't react, and you stay neutral, you acknowledge and you thank. Even though you don't prefer it, you are gonna allow that to pass, and then you're gonna receive into your experience something in accordance to how you reacted. So if you were neutral and grateful, and you had something to be grateful for, that thing to be grateful for will appear in your reality. So the more you keep honing your heart, the more you keep this vibration, not keep but expand, and keep choosing love. I'm going to talk about love in a minute as well. The more that is going to be reflected back at you as a principle. So it's not denying and just saying affirmations, but from which frequency state you say those affirmations and how you vibrate. Because everything here is by resonance. It's in a way similar to how dolphins communicate. It's a resonance. It's beyond words. You go to this by resonance. But if not, you wouldn't be here just now listening. So moving on, your job is actually in alignment with your true joy, with your soul's purpose. And it doesn't have to be something super complicated and that you need to discover and to be a seeker forever. It's what excites you the most. And the moment you start moving towards that direction, everything will be open, and that vision will appear in front of your eyes and your senses, and your higher senses as well, not just your senses. The new earth is mostly about the higher faculties and the senses. You experience those that are in the subtle realm before you experience them with your 5 senses here on earth. So you're becoming multidimensional because your perception and your intuition, once you connect with your heart, they open It's like opening a gate. And then you start receiving all of this information, all of the codes. You start knowing in your body what to do and when to do it. And when something feels off, it's either one of these ascension symptoms where something is clearing, so that's why you need to remain observant and not fall into the trap of how you're feeling and become that feeling. You're not your feelings. Or it could be your intuition telling you how. But your intuition is always a loving voice. Your intuition is not fear, unless it's something that feels like fear because it's something where you need to act in the moment. You're crossing the street, there's a car coming your way. You'll sense it even before looking at it. But sometimes we feel this strong emotion, that wave I was talking about in the beginning. And when you feel that, it's okay to let it pass and run through. And then ask your guides, do I have to do anything with this? And they are gonna tell you. In silence and stillness and in presence, and especially in a high vibration coming from your heart, you're gonna start receiving communications from your guides and your angels. It's gonna seem a bit strange in the beginning according to your personal construction, because you're not used to trusting things that you don't see. Or maybe you have a preconceived idea of how things should be and how they should look. But once you start trusting in magic and what you don't see, magic appears, magic reveals itself to you. So what you do, your job in the new earth, can be easily discovered by going out in nature for a walk with a pure heart intention, with that elevated intention and emotion. Asking in a happy manner your guides or your angels or God, whoever you trust, whoever resonates with your heart. That's again coming from the personal construction, so you don't need to define it. Something that, instead of putting you off or feel strange, whatever feels safe in your heart, ask that, and then you'll receive an answer in the form of maybe wanting to do something you haven't done in a while, or maybe finishing that thing you started that you didn't trust yourself before because of lower emotions. So you connect back with your essence, and then you start playing with childlike curiosity and discovery. And when the doubt creeps in, you'll notice it, just like that car coming from that direction before. And you'll say, okay, I noticed that, but that is not part of my reality. I let it go. And when you let it go, there's a freedom, there's an inner liberation. So when you enter that resonance, you'll find people in that same resonance. So there are many things that will help you with the transition period. But know that accessing the new earth, accessing the 5D consciousness, the frequency state, is felt within your heart, when your heart becomes one with everything. It's not your mind that is going to define it. It's not your ego. It's not a longing. It's not a seeking, but a frequency. So are you going to be part of the new earth? Are you part of the new earth? Because your voice matters. Thank you so much for listening. If you're still here, I know that we are in resonance, and I truly appreciate that. So don't get discouraged when things seem to be a bit strange, because it means you're stabilizing. But what's here in your heart, when you allow it to be, it's worth it. It's eternal. It's magical. It's a miracle. So if you're here for the first time, consider that maybe taking these words without judging, but just seeing what resonates and what doesn't. The truth is only the truth if it resonates with your heart. Otherwise, don't let anybody tell you what the truth is if it doesn't feel right to you. To your heart, I mean. And sometimes it's a really good exercise to question your beliefs and to connect with your true self and see what your true self has to say. It doesn't have any beliefs. It doesn't have any conditioning. It doesn't have a capacity to say what is right and wrong. It is just the witnessing. And if you, instead of filtering that, you allow your high self, your heart, to guide you, and it just feels effortless, feels like a constant state of flow, and it means you're in the right path. And there are many tools to sustain that frequency and to allow yourself to experience your full potential. We are here to experience our full potential. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you've resonated with this, with some of this information, if not all of it. And again, your real self will never judge you. The only thing that would judge your real self is your ego, because of its conditioning and because it is afraid of how things would look on the outside, because it has a certain idea of what is safe and what is not, what is known and unknown, but that is just so limited in comparison to your true self. I'm thinking if there's anything that I haven't said, but please feel free to leave any questions in the comments and I'll be addressing them in the next video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence and much love. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. That really helps. And sharing the videos or liking the videos, everything contributes to growing and expanding the word. But most importantly, if you resonate with some of this or with all of this, experience that, apply it. Don't just intellectualize it, because it's not intellectual, it's not an exercise. It has to be confirmed in your heart. Thank you. See you next time.